Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Pacers are in the wing right now for a lot of different things. They are active. Their name is real hot right now. And the reason why the Pacers' name is hot is because they have a one-track line to DeAndre Ayton. It looks like that's starting to warm up, those two. And I like it. Because I like the idea of reuniting DeAndre Ayton and Sticks. Phoenix didn't use that tandem correctly. Pacers may be able to with Halliburton. That looks nice. I like that. That's juicy. Anyway, so plus when you consider the draft pick they just picked up and some of the other players they already got, I like what the Pacers are doing right now, low key. Anyway, so this is what's going on from what I understand. The Pacers are in a position to sign Ayton on Saturday, outright. They feel they have the pieces, or from what I understand, according to this particular source, they say that the Pacers believe they have the pieces to help facilitate Durant to Phoenix. But the pressure is now, I guess, being applied from one side or another to get Phoenix to hurry up and do this. Because if not, Phoenix, Indy's just going to outright sign him to an offer sheet that Phoenix knows for a fact they're not going to match. And that could blow up the situation entirely. Now, if they want this sign and trade, they need to hurry up. It's essentially what it sounds like is being reported. Now, the thing is, when you hear stuff like that, you know that that's being fed to you for a reason. That means that chances are that was fed to that person to feed to us to put pressure on Phoenix to do this. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the Pacers giving that information to us. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's Brooklyn putting that information out there either. And you don't know who's putting that message out there. But the point is, it's always put out there for a reason. And so that is something to keep in mind when listening to stuff like that. However, as I come to you guys with information, I just put it together as tea leaves. It's just something I can put in my arsenal of things to put together. And what I see with the Pacers is this. They have the ability to take our Russell Westbrook contract as well. And from what I understand, they're interested in it. However, it sounds like if the tea leaves are starting to form, it sounds like they may have a bidder for that Russell Westbrook contract, and that might be San Antonio. Utah has an open point guard spot right now. They could use that Russell Westbrook contract. And I think Charlotte probably is out on it, given the fact that Bridges is no longer a part of the organization. There's no point taking the contract to pay him. But we do have a few teams that may be interested in Russell Westbrook, and of course, you can also look at the Thunder as a team who may want to reunite with him just off of sentiment. So that right there might be a reason why someone might want to pressure Phoenix to hurry up and make a move to facilitate possibly Russell Westbrook going one direction or another in that bid right there. See, a lot of people really truly believe Russell Westbrook's contract holds no value, but I know better. I've been saying this for months. It has the ability to make a few of your bad contracts go away. That's what it does. If it has no other value, it has the value to make that contract and that contract come together and go out. And that is something that a lot of these teams should want. Whether they know it or not, they should want that. And that's the beauty of being an understanding person in regards to this type of thing. When you know what you have and you know what you hold, you don't misevaluate its value. The reason why the reason why it seems as if people are lowering Westbrook's value in regards to the contract itself is because they want to pry it from the Lakers to little to nothing, for little to nothing, because it is attached to a struggling basketball player. But they know the floor of that contract because they saw how bad Russell looked last year. That's as bad as he's going to look. And they also know that he did not have key things last year that makes Russell Westbrook. One, that center he can always dump the ball off to. Has he ever played in a situation that had no center outside of that Houston situation, which was different because everything was run through, obviously, James Harden. So it was a different dynamic. But in his situation, he usually has a center like someone, for example, my mind's going blank, but Adams, of course, or some of the guys in Washington, they were always available for him to dump the ball off to after having certain situations where he would jump into the air and have nowhere to go, or find himself in the paint and have nowhere to go once again as he dribbles himself into nowhere land. And instead of having to force a layup that he often missed for the Lakers, he would have a center to dump the ball off to, would dunk the ball and make games easier for him, give him more assists, make his numbers overall better. That piece was missing from his game, and the NBA knows that. They ain't gonna tell the fans that, but we all know a lot of what went wrong with Russell Westbrook was the fact that he didn't have a damn center out there. So, given the fact that most of these teams are gonna have a center, at least a decent one, they ain't gonna play small ball. They know that he's gonna play better than he did for the Lakers. They know that. They're not gonna tell you that. They're not gonna tell me that, but we all know that. Basketball minds know that. So it's one of those situations where it's like, all right, you're getting him for 1 year. You promote him to be the worst player of all time, even though you know he's literally one of the greatest players of all time based on the statistics. But, you promote him as the worst player in the world, blah, blah, blah. He's the worst thing. You can't even bring him, can't fit nowhere, nothing, all that. And then you get him from the Lakers, you put him on your team, and he plays great. Then he comes off the books. Voila, you got the $46 million or whatever it is, $47 million, and he's helped your team do whatever it was going to do. And that's what I know is going to happen. That's why the Lakers need not give that thing up. It is invaluable. It has no value to us because the fit is horrible. Make no mistake about it. It's worth less to the Lakers than most teams because of the fit and the inability to even consider moving LeBron James to make that fit better. Other teams don't have that problem. I can think of several teams he can go to right now that he would fit just fine, including Washington where he left. So don't let these people fool you. Yes, Russell struggled. I saw the same thing y'all did. He was awful. But they are overblowing it. They are way overblowing it. And why are they way overblowing it? Because they want it. They want that contract for free. they want that thing to go into oblivion for free, and they will gladly bring him to their team, put him on their team, and let him play for a year, and then boom. The following summer, they'll be signing the best player available. You'll be like, how'd they get that guy? They got that guy because they had Westbrook's contract come off their books. So understand this. Those contracts that they need off their books, they need it bad enough to bring him in. Trust you me. I look at the Knicks, for example, with Evan Fournier's contract. That's one of those contracts you'd be very happy to get rid of because it's going to be on for multiple years. And you ain't going to be able to free up that cap space. No way in hell. So some of these situations like, yeah, right. I look over at Atlanta. I look at Atlanta, see some of their contracts. I'm like, y'all sure y'all don't want a free contract coming off your books of $47 million? As much as y'all trying to free up cap space after what y'all just did. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is a good fit for Atlanta at all, but what I'm saying is that contract coming off of their books next summer looks great in regards to them trying to continue to build around DeJounte and Trey. I can tell you that. So this is one of them situations where I'm like, all right, if we're stuck with Russell Westbrook, we have a bad fit. We're going to have a terrible season. But understand this, we're going to be super happy when that money comes off the books and we're going to have an opportunity to pick up all kinds of talent because of it. That last year Bron's going to be with the team. If he resigns with us, he's going to have a nice team to play for if we build correctly because the free agent pool is going to be fantastic. That's the part that everybody needs to understand. Just like the draft is going to be fantastic next year, the free agent pool is going to be fantastic next year. So these teams that are giving away picks for next year and teams that don't necessarily want to free up this cap space, but they have these bad contracts sitting on their books, understand they are not looking at this correctly. That's all that is. If they don't want if they don't want Westbrook, they ain't looking at it right. So I've been selling that the whole time, man. I'm gonna keep on doing it. At the end of the day, the fit is bad for my team, and that's a fact. And others know that, and that's leverage for them against us, which is also something we take into account. But at the end of the day, whether the fit's bad or not, at the end of the day, you can just structure it so it's not so bad. You bring him off the bench and you put him in lineups that allow him to be himself. And you live with the results. And if he has to come off the bench and he doesn't like it, too bad. You shut him down if it becomes a big problem, which I don't believe it would. So everybody's going to play ball because at the end of the day, this is a contract year for him, which means whatever role he's in, he's playing for another contract. Let that not lose your focus as well because you're talking about a Hall of Famer who knows he ain't going to get the type of money that he's supposed to be getting, but he also knows he did irreparable damage to his brand in terms of what people are expecting him playing basketball today. So he's going to have to get back out there and play ball well enough to earn some type of contract. If not, he might as well just go ahead and retire. And we ain't got to worry about no $47 million. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, he might as well just go ahead and retire if he has no intentions of playing ball better than he did last year. So I think he will. And regardless of what team he's on, whether it be Brooklyn, Lakers, Indy, he's going to play well because he's going to want to reestablish himself as a good basketball player. And I didn't forget what I saw for the first 10 years of his career. Even though I didn't watch it as closely as most did, I think the adjustment to him and the steps backwards that his body is taking is just ultimately what it was. He had to learn his body. And at the end of the season, believe it or not, as bad as the fit was, he looked pretty good in a Laker uniform, and I haven't forgotten that either. He ended the season very well for what our standards had become. So take all of that into account and just understand that this team that the Lakers are putting together is much more equipped for him to have less mistakes happen because of the system itself. If he makes certain types of mistakes, it won't be because certain comfort zone situational players won't be out there. That's what I'm saying. Damian Jones will be there. Thomas Bryant, of whom he played with in Washington, will be there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they will have Juan Toscano Anderson. These are guys that can catch the ball when he gets in trouble and dunk the ball in the paint just like he likes it. You know what I mean? So AD will be back. Also a big part of Russell Westbrook's ability to succeed is being able to dump the ball off to him as well. So all of that should be available this year if we're stuck with Russell Westbrook's contract. So the fit is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as it was last year. And that is the point. We got more defensive help for him as well. The defensive players surrounding Russell Westbrook will be better, which means he won't look as bad defensively. So all of that matters. So I will say, I think this team was built with the intent of him not being a part of it. Make no mistake about it. These are not necessarily complementary pieces for him, but we do have some just-in-case pieces for him, and I definitely appreciate that very much. So, yeah, I thought I was going to talk about the Pacers, but basically we're talking about everything. At the end of the day, we want on this channel to see this deal taking place in a very, very responsible way. That is what I'm advocating for. Not necessarily the fast nature of them doing this deal, but getting it right. Ayton has gotten a raw deal. He should have been had his money. We talked about that. I want to see that done right. The situation with Westbrook, obviously he needs to go to a situation that's solid where he can work for an opportunity again to play for a good contract. Probably not best for him to play in a bad fit. Hopefully he can land in the best situation. I don't know if the Pacers is or isn't that situation, but I'll tell you this. I want his running mate to be as cerebral as Tyrese Halliburton. I will say that. If I'm putting Russell Westbrook next to a type of player that I could appreciate him playing with, it's that kind of guy who can kind of, improvise regardless of what's going on. I believe Tyrese is smart enough to just be a part of the game. Sort of like Lonzo Ball, just be part of it. So I like the idea of the possibility of that not failing completely for what it's worth. So that I want to see worked out. And then, of course, I think the Brooklyn, Sean Marks is playing for, he's playing, I guess it's a game. He's playing for his job. You know, his situation with the GMs, as GM of the Nets, I honestly believe is on the line because everything that's going on here looks as if it's his fault. May not be. Somebody said something very, very important that I'm going to take with me, and they, were essentially saying that it's probably the owner who's asking for these massive deals for Kevin Durant, and that makes all the sense in the world. In my scenario, in my mind, it was Sean Marks asking for all of that, and I mentioned that in the previous video, but it could go either way. Either way, you don't want to be seen as incompetent when in the business of trading such important and valuable pieces. So that's how they look to me right now. Regardless of who it is that's starting to, with this idea that they should be asking Minnesota for Karl Towns and Anthony Edwards and 4 picks, which, like I said, we talked about. It's unbelievable. But, those are the type of things that make you just wonder who's going to be still around in Brooklyn after all this shakes out. Honestly, I don't think too many people. It might just be Ben Simmons left, and that's it, quite literally. Quite literally. It's Nash, everybody. I don't think nobody gonna be left if this upcoming season doesn't go well. However, that's supposed to be structured out. So it starts with them building this team, and honestly, them dragging their feet is probably not a bad idea. They should very much take their time. As I said, don't do nothing hastily. But at the same time, if the Pacers are saying, yo, push, 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 that's something to think about, I suppose. And given the fact that they have multiple moves that they can make. So if Ayton's going to be a part of what they're trying to trade in Phoenix, they would be wise to expedite the process. But then at the same time, it's like Brooklyn wants Booker. Okay, so in expediting that process, Phoenix needs to be very wise about what it is they're putting on the table. And if it ain't no deal to make, don't make the deal. Simple as that. Make Brooklyn figure themselves out. That would be my reaction to the situation. You don't want to watch Ayton go for nothing, but you certainly don't want to trade Booker in the process of trying to do all of this nonsense just to bring in KD to a situation where him and Chris Paul are supposed to carry you into the future? Yeah, good luck with that. So, that is what I have to say, man. It's time to eat. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.